lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thanks so much for being here with us. This is a phenomenal night. It is Saturday night. It's our 2-hour Saturday show. And a special thank you again to Deb Varner for doing all those fantastic readings last night. It was a marvelous time, a lot of great participation by you guys, the listeners. Thank you guys so much for taking part in last night's show. It was a great time and some amazing readings. And tonight, of course, we got a bucket full of fun ready for you, because that's how we roll up here in the portal. And I'm not alone. I got my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard here, chuckling into the mic.
I thought you said a bucket full of chum. I was like, what?
Look what I found scratching at the door like a kitten.
Let me out.
Let me out. Let you in. You were ready to get on the show. We missed you last Wednesday, brother.
Yeah, I'm totally sorry. I apologize to everybody, but that's the way life works.
It does. Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but
as
it's
unfair and horrible as that is.
I know.
It happens, and we're just thrilled you're here tonight. Everything good in your world?
All's good now. Yes.
Good.
All's good. Yeah.
You made bail? No.
You weren't supposed to say.
Sorry. Jeez, I forgot that part.
Oh, that cat's out of the bag. That's what Don gets for talking to police officers.
Now then, well, it's good that you're here. It's always a pleasure, and it makes my life a lot easier. So that's always a good thing too.
Yeah, I like it when you're easy.
Ooh, hey, it's a family show there, Longbeard.
To get along with.
Tame your follicles, will you? All right. But we are live and, of course, unrehearsed, which is how this works, as you can tell. We don't generally have too much of a plan ever, but we have fun doing it no matter what. Hopefully you guys are having a good time already, but thank you for all of you that are climbing in the door and joining us here on the show. And I'm going to try to see how many. Oh, we got 24, 25 in right now, and it'll keep climbing for about the next hour. We have a lot of people that are fashionably late to the portal, and that's fine.
You know what's funny? Cha-Cha's here.
Whoa.
Yeah, huh?
Whoa.
She's on time tonight.
Cha-Cha's representing tonight. That's it. It's got to be a full moon. No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. We, of course, will have the phone lines open throughout the night. If you have a paranormal event of your very own you'd love to share, we'd love to hear from you. Call in to 720-923-0500. Again, 723 or 7 what? 720-923.
Yes.
0500.
One more time.
What's my name? What's my motivation? I don't know my lines most of the time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just winging it. But we'd love to hear from you. We always get great call-ins from you guys out there, and some fantastic information and experiences, and that always makes the show. And of course, I got some emails to go over right off the bat here tonight, so that'll be fun. I love getting emails as well. And if you're not the type to call in, that kind of freaks you out. The whole public speaking thing's a little tough. Feel free to write in your experience. You can do that by emailing us at paranormalportalradio paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Again, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. So lots of ways to get in touch. And as I've been saying lately, it's your passport to the portal. But we are underway here. So I guess we'll go to the emails first, right,
Okay,
Don?
cool. Yeah, emails are always great.
They are. And the ones we got are even better.
Nice.
Even better than great. I got to move my
Hey,
beverages.
who was it that bought the hoodie that posted the pictures?
Pam, I am.
Yes. And you know what? I gotta pat myself on the back.
You did good.
It came out awesome. I didn't know it was going to be that awesome.
Yeah. No, it really was. It
I
was
was
really
like, wow.
fantastic. And it looked great. And thank you again, Pam, for
We
that.
do appreciate it. Yeah.
It goes a long way to help support the show. And what Don's talking about, if you're new to the show, is the Teespring. Link is down in the description. You can click on that and help us out a bunch by checking out some Paranormal Portal gear. If you find something you like, if you purchase it, it goes a long way into helping keep the lights on here on the portal.
And maybe even get us traveling across, because it's going to help us travel to a couple things local here, but 3 hours in a couple
Within a
different
few
directions.
hours, yeah. I mean, we're
But,
broadening our range
we're,
a little
We're
bit.
going to get out there.
Last year we made it all the way to Spokane. This year we're going to Kennewick,
and then Medellin Falls.
and then Medellin Falls first, and then Kennewick later in the year. Yep,
And then back to
international
Spokane for the local, yeah.
That's right. And then we're doing roundup back in Spokane. So we are booking up like crazy. So thank you all for all of you that have pitched in and helped one way or other. It goes a long way. It makes it all possible. So thank you for that.
And it shows your love.
Well, yeah, we love us some love.
Which reminds me of something me and Cade were talking about a bit ago.
Hey. All right. You and Kay just need to keep that in the private chat.
Hey.
We don't need to get too personal.
yeah, we're going to Missoula too.
Oh, that's
in
right.
July, yeah.
The Coloma investigation. No, that's August, by the way. Or July. You're right. Yep. Sorry, I was.
Now he's changed days.
I stroked out there for a second, but yeah, you're right. So the first email is coming to us from a listener named Brian, and he writes, "My name is Brian, and I'm from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Let me start by saying I've been a skeptic most of my life. Never believed in anything paranormal and never wanted to experience anything if it was real.
Mm-hmm.
I had an experience on October 15th, 2016.
Okay.
It was actually my wedding night. My wife and myself were staying in the Basin Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I can't remember the exact room number, but it was on the 5th floor. My wife was telling me that this hotel was haunted and about some of the claims of activity people have. I dismissed it immediately, and my wife and her mother had stayed there numerous times, hoping to encounter something, but never had. At about 5 a.m. that night, my wife gets up to go to the bathroom, and about a minute later, I feel the full weight of someone getting back into bed, so I roll over expecting to see my wife. But nobody was there. And I see the imprint of what looks like someone laying in the bed next to me. Then I look and see that the bathroom door is still closed, and I see the light under the door, so I know my wife is still in there. Well, I'm startled and get up and turn on all the lights, and my wife comes out of the bathroom and sees that I'm up and obviously upset by something. For whatever reason, I don't tell her what had happened. Later that day, when we were away from the hotel, I tell her exactly what happened, and she believed me and was actually jealous that she didn't experience anything. I haven't told many people since the few other than my wife that I did tell really didn't believe me. I'm not sure I'm not sure what it was that was in bed next to me, but it did change my views on everything and open my mind to other possibilities beyond what I see with my eyes. Thank you for doing the portal. I've enjoyed listening since I found you through Sasquatch Chronicles." Yeah, baby.
Who's that?
This other show that I remember.
Yeah, something.
I've gained a lot of knowledge and understanding from listening and researching on my own.
Good.
That's really cool. I had no other experiences since then, but if I do, I will hopefully not be as alarmed.
Well, and you can always come back and write to us again.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really cool, and I gotta admit that would be, that's a phenomenon I've never experienced before, and I find it weird on several different levels. First of all, it's weird because these are energetic beings. So how come when they lay down on the bed, Does the bed get depressed? And that comes up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People will feel somebody sitting on the bed or sitting on their legs or holding them down, and they can feel the hands. They can feel the experience completely.
Right.
Why are they exhibiting a gravity? Because they're an energetic being, and that's what I don't quite understand. But I guess they can create that event, is what I think. Energetically, they can create that because they want people to know that they're there. So I think it's very intentional, and could be a form of intimidation or just a desire for acknowledgement.
Right.
But the other thing I think that's really weird is that somebody's crawling into your bed and you have no idea who it is.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I usually get dinner first. Sorry.
Dinner.
I usually get dinner first.
There's this thing called
Let me try that
wining
again.
and dining.
I usually get dinner first. Nothing? Okay.
Not really
All right.
doing it.
No, it was funny in my head. So. All right. Yeah, but that's a cool story.
It is, yeah.
Thank you so much, Brian.
We've talked about, how the energy manifests mass, right? Because specifically regarding that shadow person that ran down the hall, grabbed that guy, knocked him down, and drug him down the hall. Remember?
Yeah.
So because that's the only way they could do it, is they'd have to generate some kind of mass.
Yeah.
And so obviously you need mass to grab something. You need mass in the hands to grab something. You need mass to make a depression in the bed. So,
or at least to be able to simulate that mass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I think that they exist in this energetic state. I don't think, I don't think it's just a matter of a trans-dimensional thing that's not quite in phase, but may actually, it could be, I guess, that may actually have a mass, might have a weight to it, but we can't quite perceive it for whatever reason.
Okay.
Could be a light spectrum thing. Could be a frequency thing. I don't know. I guess the board's is wide open on that, and we just don't know. Nobody can know what the hell's going on in those situations. We have a lot of theories, a lot of ideas, but so far they don't lend themselves to be interviewed very well.
No. Yeah.
So
yeah, they don't talk a whole lot to us.
No, they don't. Well, especially to us. Yeah.
I don't want to talk to those dorks.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, they don't have enough followers yet.
They need at least 10 grand.
Yeah, we need 10K and then we'll talk. I don't even get out of bed for less than 10K.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, right. So I don't know what the deal is, but it's interesting. It's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, but that phenomena happens all the time. We hear about it all the time. Somehow or another, it can be in a chair. People will see, like, somebody's favorite recliner that passed on. Suddenly they'll see the cushion depressed as if somebody's sitting there
to rock.
and starting to rock. Yeah,
Right.
it's not only just an interaction with the item, but there's a weight to it, and that's what really blows my mind. So whatever that is, I guess maybe someday we'll have all the answers. But for now, we're just asking the questions. Let's get back to the next one. And this is this one. What in the hell happened here? I started this one, but I thought it was a story. Wait a minute. Okay, so this one is actually a picture as well. And I'll show. I'm not sure what the picture is. I haven't really reviewed it yet, so I don't know.
It's two kids.
Yeah, it's two kids on a bed, but I'm not sure what it's depicting, because it just came as a picture, and then I was wondering what that was. But let me read what this listener is named Teresa, and she said, "We've had a vast number of experiences happen, from hearing footsteps to going down the hall. My wife thought I was home from work, but no one was there. We've had handprints in the bathroom mirror. My wife would clean them off and they would reappear. My wife had pictures thrown off the dresser at her. A half full 5-gallon water jug come off the water cooler and was thrown halfway across the kitchen." That's amazing, because those things are not light.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot of force.
I have a 5-gallon jug, water cooler jug that I use for my dog's water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're freaking heavy.
Yeah. And it says, "My children here laughing, and saw red eyes at the end of the hallway, where their TV would cut on and off, and the bathroom water would cut on. And my wife and I were taking a shower one day, and the doorknob started turning and sounded like someone was shaking the door. And we thought it was the kids, so we yelled to stop and shaking the damn door, and it kept on. So I jumped out of the shower and swung the door open, and no one was there. I've been woken up by a loud growl. Jeez. Like someone was right beside my ear. My daughter has woke up with bruises. I've had 3 long scratches on my leg several times. And anyway, there are some things that happened. I know it a lot, but we lived with this from 2000 to 2019. When we moved, since we moved, nothing, thank God. My wife and I don't argue anymore. And if you would like, I can send you the number. Okay, well, and that's, of course, a discussion that we're going to continue to have, Teresa and I or whomever. I don't know. I think since you said my wife, I think it's a man that was writing me. But
hold on.
yeah.
This is her. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's husband Paul that was writing us. That's right. Okay. I remember that now. I'm sorry. I get a lot of different messages throughout the day, so it's hard to keep track of them all. But this did include a picture, and this image, ladies and gentlemen, is really creepy. I remember looking at it now, yeah. And we'll put it up on screen so you guys can see. Let's see, there's nothing that's personal here. Okay, good. All right, let me put it up so you guys can see this image, and you can see there shouldn't be any reason for this light anomaly here. Well, I'm not sure what this is. This, I think, is the camera strap or something. Oh, okay. Like a hand loop or something on the end of a camera strap. But this is really unusual. And it does seem to approximate the shape of a person, potentially. So that's really creepy. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful kids, though. Aw. But it's tough when you got this kind of activity and you've got kids, too, because, you know, kids don't know what to do with this stuff. I'm not sure adults know either, but yeah. At least we feel like we can handle things. But kids are brand new to all this world, and this kind of stuff is tough. So I'm sorry that they've experienced so much, but
now things are quiet again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad they moved, and that this situation seems to have remedied itself just by moving. Thank God. So, but yeah, very good picture. Very bizarre. That light anomaly shouldn't be there from anything I can see. Nothing standard anyway. I don't know. And this looks like an old film camera. So it's not just a digital lens flare or anything like that, right, that are real common. But yeah, fantastic. I just thank you so much for sending this stuff in, ladies and gentlemen. This is, I mean, this is the stuff we love. Mm-hmm. And if they were still in that place, of course, we would definitely reach out to try to help them deal with it as much as we could. But since they moved and haven't been experiencing anything else, then
they're all good.
They're good. But you know, it's funny because in a situation like that, there was a reference to, you know, the arguing that was coming up, right, and stuff.
Right.
And that's living in that emotionally charged situations. Yep. Those emotionally charged situations. And it's, you know, it's probably the negativity that's built up in this house for however long, right, you know, before these people even moved in.
Because they're picking up on that energy.
Right, exactly. It's like being inundated with a different frequency that's trying to keep you on edge and lowered. And then the activity on top of that keeps you just jumpy. So,
hey, MCAT's on the phone.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay. But thank you so much for sending that in. We do appreciate that a bunch. Those are fantastic stories, and I think that's all that I had. I'm going to take a once more through here. Yeah, that was it for now. So, listener emails, if you have one of your very own you'd like to send in, please do. Again, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com is the way to get it to us, and we'll be happy to share yours as well. Also, if you want to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know, and you can use that same email address and talk to me about that, and we'll get it scheduled and figure it out. But let's get to Mr. MCAT here and see just what's going on. Mr. MCAT, how you doing, sir?
Hey, fellas, what's going on tonight?
We're doing good, man. How you doing?
What's happening? Here you go.
Nice. So, I guess you're not home anymore. You got the microphone a little close to your mouth, because I can hear you exhaling.
Hang on.
Sure.
How's that?
Much, much better, I think. I think we're good now.
Good.
So
hey, Donnie, what kind of birds don't fly?
Why do I feel this is a trick
Jailbirds,
question?
that's what kind.
Oh, I got you. Right.
I was going to say penguins.
Jailbirds, yes.
I got jokes.
I guess you got jokes. That's
So
good. Go ahead.
Anyway, I call in and weigh in on the whole spirits being able to manifest
Yes.
bodies into our three-dimensional reality, and what my opinion of what's happening. And what it seems to me is that you can't just have a consciousness floating around in our three-dimensional reality. It has to have a body of some kind. And so what I think is happening is that these are interdimensional beings. And what I mean by that is they're fourth or fifth dimensional beings coming into our three-dimensional reality.
Right.
Now, they're able to observe things from the outside, but if they want to affect something, move something around, grab a hold of something, make a noise, they have to manifest a body, inhabit that body, and be in our three-dimensional reality in order to change things or affect things in it.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And apparently they have the ability to, manifest whatever kind they want. It can be mostly invisible to all the way like a warm-blooded person.
Wow. Okay.
Or shadows. So that's kind of my view on what's happening.
Do you think that those were formerly people, or do you think that there's something else?
I think most of them are formerly people.
Okay.
Now, there are some that are not. What I usually say is evil is out there, and you're going to know when you run into it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of rare.
Right.
Because a demon is a word that gets tossed around a lot. We've talked about this before.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's a easy out for a lot of people, and I don't think it's accurate.
No, I'm right there with you. I don't think they're either. I think these are people that are maybe confused, maybe disoriented, maybe they know what's going on, and it's a concept that I've recently come up with, is that human beings have a tendency to hold on too tightly to things.
Yeah.
And that can cause some problems. And if humans have that problem, then I believe that spirits also have that problem.
That's interesting.
Could be an object, could be a house, could be a person that's still living that they just want to be around. And I don't think that spirits are necessarily stuck, but I think they may be holding on to something so tightly that they don't want to let go.
Wow, that's a great idea. Huh. So it's an attachment, and with the emotional attachment probably means that they're bound to it in some manner just by that emotional attachment.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I want to try is reminding them to let go. Because if they want to move forward, they have to let go first.
Right. That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I think that's, it's certainly the case for any of us. If we want to change, we've got to let go of the past in order to move forward. And so I imagine in esoteric terms, that's just as true.
Right. Yeah, that's the way that I'm looking at it.
No, I think that's great insights. Great insights. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Coloma, brother.
Are you going to be at Coloma?
Oh, yeah. The MCAT's going to be there.
Yes, sir, I am.
Nice.
I'm going to be there. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it really will. And, we're going to kind of double dip because we're going to be doing, of course, the ghost investigating and as well as Bigfoot investigating. So it's kind of a double dipping on this deal.
Yeah, I'll be. I'll definitely be bringing my thermal for that. And the thermal is useful, but it's supposed to be like a thumb drive. You connect it to a computer and you can download things.
Okay.
But it doesn't really work like that. It's not liking my computer, so I'm rigging up a way where I can put a camera on it and then record through the camera.
Oh, neat. So is it like one of those Zooms or whatever? Not Zoom, but is it a FLIR one, or what brand is it?
FLIR.
FLIR. Okay.
It's a FLIR Scout.
Okay. Wow. That's weird. You'd think that FLIR would be on their game with the drivers and stuff.
Yeah, they're supposed to, but I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to bypass the whole thing.
Oh, cool. Well, that'll be great, though. I'm really looking forward to that, and of course Dan will be there as well. He says he's going to make it, so it'll be we'll have a couple of very practiced hands among us, which will be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, brother, it will be for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're dead on with this whole idea of the dimensional shift and the necessity of having a body that makes sense, because I mean, how else could they manifest and create such a noticeable change in the environment that they're in? And it comes up all the time, in so many different stories, that they interact with objects in some level, by movement, or just showing that they have a mass and weight, and so on and so forth. Even touching people, I find that very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I think is going on, or the process of what's happening. So we'll see. I'm not entirely sure how to test it, but we'll keep working at it.
We'll have to find one of them that's willing to work with us a little bit while we try some ideas.
Hey, hold still. We're going to take some measurements.
Yeah,
Don't
hold on.
move.
Let me get my tailor out here. Hold on.
Hold on while I roll out the tape measure. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
We're going to go to break.
time.
Thanks for calling in, MCAT. It's great to hear from you, brother.
Yeah, you bet, fellas. I'll talk to you later.
Okay,
Have a
we'll
good
see
night.
you. Good night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go
Night.
to our first break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Paranormal Portal. We are back, and thanks for your patience as the commercial break passed us by. If you're new to the show, we are tied into the networks on Friday, Saturday nights. TFR Live, of course, is our mother network. It's where the show started. And on Friday, Saturday nights, we broadcast there, and that's being simulcast also on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And they have commercial breaks every half hour. So in order to sync up the broadcast with the YouTube simulcast, we created those video segments to play when the commercials are being played on the network feed. So that way you guys don't have to sit and listen to commercials. So I hope that you understand. It's not because we're lazy. It's just because we just trying to keep this all cohesive up in here. So
we have to be synchronized.
Yes, we do. All of us do. And I know we got a lot of synchronicity right here in the Paranormal Portal chat room. Thank you to everybody who's come in. Please feel free to continue to spread the word about the show, though, because, we've been growing lately. It's been going good, but
Yes.
I want to crack 100 on these live streams. I want to see.
Oh, yes.
I want to see us get like over 100 people in here watching. We've gotten close a couple times.
We're jealous of a couple people we know.
Well, not jealous. We are inspired by other people. Let's call it that.
Okay.
Because we're not competing with anybody, really. But
Oh, no.
we're not. Well, other than Cade. We compete with Cade, but
Yeah, well, he's kind of on our level. These other people we talk to are so far beyond us.
Cade's in the chat room. That's why I said that. So I had to call him out. That's Cade Moya, ladies and gentlemen, our good friend from Oz, who has the Believe podcast. So definitely check that out. You can find that on many of the podcasting platforms out there. Just look for Believe, and you will find it. It's a great show. He does a wonderful job. Really top-notch work. So, and he's got some great guests. His latest show is Jim Harold, or one of his latest shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he interviewed Jim Harold, and that was a great discussion.
That was a good one.
Jim Harold has some amazing stories. He shared one story on there that just blew my mind. I was just like, whoa, I want to hear more.
Right. That was the one about the bar in the picture,
Yes,
right?
that was exactly the one, the time slip one or some. I
Right.
don't know if it was time slip or what exactly was going on there, but it was really pretty incredible. So check out that episode, ladies and gentlemen, and check out all of Cade's episodes. Really good stuff. And also check out the Duke. Our very own Duke Sullivan is in the chat room. He's one of our mods, but he is also the creative force behind World Bigfoot Radio. And you can find World Bigfoot Radio on YouTube as well. And you can also find World Bigfoot Radio on, 10 p.m. Pacific? Yeah.
19, yes.
10 p.m. Pacific time right here on TFR Live as well. And it's a really cool experience because you can get into the chat room, go to tfrlive.com/chat, and hang out with Duke. All of his episodes are pre-recorded, but he's in the chat room, and you can have a chance to talk to him about the shows and about questions you may have about the Bigfoot phenomena or many other phenomena.
Right.
He's just a pretty well-rounded guy. So great opportunity to get involved and hang out with the Duke. And, of course, before the Duke on TFR Live, iHeart's TuneIn and TalkStream Live is Paisley Wild, The Spaces Between, and she also simulcasts her stream on youtube.com/The Spaces Between. So there's just a chock full night of entertainment here on both Fridays and Saturday nights on our network run. So there's lots of great shows, and you should check them out. Hang out, get to know people.
Oh, boy.
And that's just all I got. But anyway, I wanted to get into some cryptid stories tonight, Don,
Oh, okay.
because I love me some cryptids.
I know you do. I know.
And we do a lot of ghost stuff on the Night Terrors, and I love ghost stories too, don't get me wrong, but I like to cover things. And one thing we haven't covered much of lately, I got a few things pulled up here regarding the Dogman. Now, the Dogman, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there's anybody probably in our audience who's not familiar with the Dogman, but the Dogman is this incredibly terrifying, large-teethed, fanged, like talon-like claws, and a whole lot of bad attitude, all in about a 9-foot frame, 7 to 9 foot frame. And it generally doesn't like people much, is what it sounds like. And not that they're out there killing people, which they, would probably have no problem doing. But the people that have encountered them, usually have pretty intense experiences. Like with Bigfoot, a lot of times it's like, well, I saw it crossing the road, it looked at me and just kind of like didn't seem to really care that I was there, and it kept meandering into the forest.
Right.
Where a dogman would probably jump on the hood of your car and growl and drool on you and, grimace at you menacingly. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it just tends to be a much more intense phenomena when people encounter the dogmen. Whereas Bigfoot seem to keep a space. Sometimes the dogmen are right up in your grill. Like they'll just pop up from behind a bush and lean in, growling, showing lots of teeth. And they are a canid cryptid that's, again, stands about 7 to 9 feet tall generally. And they are, witnesses state that they look almost exactly like the werewolves in the Underworld series.
Right.
That's what they saw. Now, I don't know about you, but if I saw that, I'd be turning in my underwear at the next gas station. It's like,
Can
nope.
I get a fresh pair, please?
Yeah,
Somebody.
I'm not even gonna bother scraping. I'm just gonna get
Right.
rid of them.
Nessie in chat says, in case of Dogman, carry dog biscuits. Now, I was just wondering, up behind that, I thought, what if I was carrying like a tennis ball? Just chuck that sucker.
How you doing, Norm? It's a dog eat dog world, and I got milk bone underwear. Yeah, tennis ball, or fetch. See if it would, grab a stick. It might work.
Well,
Probably
I'd want something that they wouldn't actually try to bring back, because I don't want them coming back. Hopefully, I can get that car or bike going fast enough that they can't catch me.
You know what you do then, Don, is you show the ball, and you act like you threw it. They'll just go and look for days.
Yeah, there you go. That's there you go.
It works for my dog all the time.
Too bad your dog's a cat.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's a dog. He follows me around outside like he's my mascot. It's really funny. It just doesn't matter. If we're going to be out there in the sprinkles and stuff, he'll be right next to me. He's a little trooper. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the dogman, ladies and gentlemen. So that's a little bit of background on the dogman, but let me read the story. Okay, this person says, I personally hate the term dogman. It's either a werewolf or a Sasquatch or whatever, but not a type 1, 2, or 3 dogman. Oh, he's talking about Vic Cundiff's show.
Oh.
I thought this is a freaking, never mind. Whatever. I'm not going to read that one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read a different one. This one's, let's see. Oh, this is interesting. This one has to do with dogmen and Bigfoot. See, here we go with me and my bad links again, Don. This one says, did humans unwittingly become the best providers for dogmen and Sasquatch? Crazy, but possibly true. So here we have a combination. First and foremost, let me admit that I'm somewhat skeptical of the whole Bigfoot dogman phenomena. I'm the type of individual who will believe it once I see it. Must be from Missouri, huh, Don?
Aye.
However, I do enjoy playing around with ideas in regard to this strange phenomena, cryptids, dogman, Sasquatch, etc. With that said, here I go with this post. And this post is coming from Reddit, ladies and gentlemen, from Reddit/dogman. And it says, I'm going to focus primarily on North America since most of the dogman and Sasquatch encounters I've heard of take place there. I can't speak for Eurasia or Australia, etc. The forests and ecosystems of North America have been drastically altered since the arrival of European settlers. Much of the eastern U.S.-Canadian forests, were cut down for farmland and livestock. In addition, numerous forests in the western Canada, U.S. were cut down as well. However, there's still plenty of land in North America for wildlife to thrive. This is an important point to bring up since many farms in North America have border forests teeming with wildlife. Thus, there are wild animals coming in close contact with livestock. Let's go crazy for a minute. If dogmen or Sasquatch are as intelligent as some people claim them to be, then there's a chance they're keen observers. They've witnessed the way humans take care of livestock. We breed them, sell them, slaughter them, etc. Where there are pigs, chickens, goats, and other farm animals, there are humans. For a dogman or a Sasquatch, it might go against their interests to harm humans. The cryptids can get free and easy meals from farmlands. Why bite the hand that feeds you? There are countless reports of livestock mysteriously disappearing. Some farmers may know the culprits, others may not. Another point worth raising is the decline of the apex predators like wolves, cougars, black bears, and grizzly bears. Although many of these animals have steady or growing populations, the colonization of North America significantly reduced their populations. Throughout USA and Canada, in North America, the populations of deer, boar, turkey, and raccoons have grown significantly. All of them are viable food for dogmen or Sasquatch, and they don't have a lot of competition. Also, invasive weeds like kudzu dandelion, Japanese knotweed, and other plants can provide sustainable food source for the cryptids. There's another example of humans unwittingly providing a new food source, bringing in massive plant species to the new continent. Again, I don't know if I believe in these cryptids or they're just fun ideas to explore. I probably made some grammatical or spelling errors, but I'm going to throw out some food for thought. That is interesting. I don't know. I honestly think that they probably are intelligent enough to not prey on livestock much.
Right.
If ever. I mean, if they do it, you know that they're in some kind of desperation, because I think they know that people get pissed. Mm-hmm. And that causes people to start hunting and looking for what's taking their animals. And I don't think they want that kind of attention. However, there are so much deer out there. There are crazy amounts of deer, just millions and millions and millions. And, you know, I don't think they have to work pretty hard to just gather wild game, because I know there's hunters and stuff, but I think deer population have really exploded for those same reasons, because of the decline of those apex predators. And even though they're on the way back, it's, you know, there's just so many of them out there that I don't think that it's probably hard for these species to subsist on the wild game rather than attacking domesticated or farm stock. You know, I just don't know. What do you think, Don?
You know, they are, well, let's just say terrifying to start with.
Right.
When we're talking about dogmen, you know, and and of course, you know, if I ever bumped into a Bigfoot, I'd probably be, you know, pretty shocked and wondering what's going to happen. But I have to admit to being that skeptic. However, these are two of the things that I can believe in better than ghosts. I think they would. I think you're right in the sense that they wouldn't be picking off livestock at an incredible rate unless they're chickens. Mm-hmm. You know, but I mean, like sheep, cows, you know, goats, you know, stuff that we actually keep for, you know, as livestock. I think they'd selectively take some every now and then,
right? So
they don't, you know, stand out too much, because like up here, you know, we have. I had a wolf come through. I found wolf tracks on my property.
Did you really?
Yeah, big wolf
recently
tracks. Yeah, just a couple days ago.
Oh my God.
I had to go down and work on the well, and you know, that's down the hill. You've been mushroom hunting in my field, so it's down the hill by the pond. Oh. So I had to go down that road, you know, the drive down there, and you could see these big wolf tracks. I mean, they're like, you know, 3 inches, you know, 3 inches around. They're big.
Yeah, that's a big size footprint.
And there's been reports of wolves. So anyhow, my point is those are regular predators, and they would definitely, you know, pick off your livestock. So it wouldn't be weird to come across a missing animal every now and then,
right?
Or, you know, a small animal if you're talking about like small goats or things like that, or sheep even. But I think that's right in the sense that, you know, we're bordered by all of this forest land, especially up here. That it's not a hard thing to believe that they would migrate through, or even, you know, camp for a while, you know, like nomads, you know.
Right.
So I find it all possible. You know?
I do too.
But I just want to reiterate one more time, if I would rather have Sasquatch than dogmen, because, and I've said this before, you know, our friend Cindy Goodbrake, she, you know, just down the road, said that she recorded what she believes or could be dogmen in the area. Like,
yeah.
No.
Well, it stands to reason. And Linda Godfrey made the connection in her research with the dogmen and staying really near to bodies of water, and you have no shortage of bodies of water.
Oh no, yeah.
You know, you've got the Pack River running right out there.
Yeah,
So
Pack River and the lake, and
Yeah,
there's lots of
exactly.
secluded places on the lake.
Yep.
The back pond on my property is fairly secluded and easily accessible from the tree lines of the surrounding, you know, woods.
right.
So I mean, just even that, So yeah, there's a lot of Walsh Lake. So whenever I take pictures and I post it of the cafe, that's there. I've done it a couple times on my page. I've posted a picture of the mountain from where I sit in the cafe every now and then. And if you look out there in the mid ground, it's actually, that's Walsh Lake. And what it is it's just basically a big area where water pools off the mountain as it comes down.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's big enough that it's practically a lake. And that's got some farmland around it because those are hay fields there. But once again, it's close enough to the woods that anything could be living there.
Well, sure. I mean, and that's the thing is that all you need for
All you need is-
any
Sorry.
any major
Right.
predator is just a few things. They need water and a viable food source.
Right.
And they need to, have seclusion, I guess, or the ability to den up or whatever they do. But, and anywhere out here, you could throw a stone anywhere and you would be hitting a perfect spot,
Yeah.
because there's so many mountain streams and seasonal runs and,
Right. Yeah.
and deer and elk and caribou and so many game, turkeys, rabbits all over the place.
There are turkeys everywhere.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's so much food right up here, just in our neck of the woods, and
Right.
and of course that's everywhere. I think in most of North America is without this proliferation of these predators that used to decorate the landscape. Those numbers have just exploded, But I think that as the wolves have come back, and of course there's some people that really want to manage those and keep their
Right.
numbers to a reasonable limit, and I don't know what to think about stuff like that. I don't know enough. Of course, I hate the idea of just random hunting because we don't think it fits our well, there are not enough deer around here anymore. We used to be able to shoot 5 a year, and now I can only shoot 2.
Right.
I mean, that's to me not a good motivator to kill off a natural part of the ecosystem, but to each their own.
Well, there has to be that balance.
Well,
has to
there
be
should
some
be.
balance, and well, anyhow. But yeah, I absolutely agree.
But what was I going to say? Oh, by the way, Taco, I did a cryptid spiders
Yeah.
episode a while back. I don't remember what it's called, but it's in the archives. If you listen through the archives, you'll hit it. But yeah, I don't know. I think they could very well be here, and I think that a lot of these cryptids are incredibly adaptable. And I think more so than any other one, I think the Bigfoot is the most adaptable because they're seen and sighted everywhere. Everywhere, from deserts to, incredibly high elevations around the world, to swampland, to forests, there's not an environment on this earth that they don't seem to be able to survive in. I mean, they seem to be just about the most adaptable creature on the face of our planet.
Yeah, because you think of the Yeti, the Yeren, all these different
The Yowie,
places that
Yeti,
they-
Aaron, I mean, almost the skunk apes
Right.
living in primarily swamplands in Florida.
tundras and
The Rougarou, if they are indeed possibly a Bigfoot, it depends on who you talk to. There's lots of different definitions.
right.
But and then up to the Arctic, into the Himalayas. I mean, they're everywhere. There's no. I mean, this is literally a worldwide phenomenon. I'm not sure about Africa. I imagine they probably have some version of this, but it's just there doesn't seem to be any place these things can't survive.
Right.
They seem just fine, and I've made this argument before. A lot of people say, well, human beings are very adaptable. It's like, no, we're not. We just have the ability to create our environment wherever we go.
Right. We
We
change
can,
the environment.
yeah, we can put up walls and encase ourselves in structures that provide our comfort. But these things are actually surviving. These things are actually thriving in wherever they are.
Right.
So, it's crazy. From down into Mexico, I mean, Mexico has a lot of arid parts of it, and they don't seem to have any problem being down there and into South America, of course, in the jungles. So it seems they're everywhere. Pat McRae says they're in downtown Detroit. Wow. I don't know if she's talking along with me here or not, but I think she is. Or he. I'm sorry, Pat. I don't know if you're a boy or girl. My apologies. But yeah, that's incredible. It wouldn't surprise me, and I think what we'll probably see more and more of is their presence increasing around urban areas. I think that it only stands to reason, as wasteful as we are, that these creatures are going to take advantage of that,
Right.
and they're gonna live off of our refuse and thrive off of it, because we're incredibly wasteful. And I mean, look at the produce we throw away. Our produce, truckloads and truckloads of produce just sitting in landfills.
Well, yeah.
Because it wasn't sold by a certain date.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because if you think about it, that may have been how we eventually domesticated dogs.
Well,
The different strains of dogs. They were coyotes and wolves, and then we started piling foods in areas, and they become domesticated, and they of course adapt to that environment. And bears do it too. They'll become dependent on human food because they're digging through garbage cans and dumpsters, and you see them stealing dumpsters.
Yeah, the bears wheeling
That
away.
was friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
But they take advantage of that, and well, they should. I mean, but are we creating this issue ourselves? Are we creating?
Oh,
this
for
issue
sure.
ourselves?
I mean, we definitely are. We definitely are. I mean, we throw away so much, and
So Arlen Forest people said they found one living in an abandoned building in Detroit. Which
Oh, my God.
one? There's a lot of abandoned buildings in Detroit.
Well, sure, but I think the point is that there was one found living in Detroit, which is amazing to me. I've been to Detroit. Chris Jarvis says we have dogman reports here in Ohio eating from dumpsters in apartment complexes. They butt up against wooded areas. Well, sure.
Absolutely.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, why not? Why would they go out and have to chase down deer if they can just pop a lid on a dumpster and have a buffet?
It's like us going to the store,
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, hey, I gotta go pick up the messages.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, and I think that they'll continue to come in because, and it may end up causing a problem or a lot of problems.
You think?
But because I mean, think of all the people that are out there that are unprotected. The people that are homeless and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I bet you they're probably already witnessing things, but nobody listens to
Right,
them.
and I wonder if some of that's and this has been speculated before about the how much of this feeds into the 411.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's certainly a consideration. These large cryptids could certainly be a part of that. And, and then you think of the tunnel systems that are there. I mean, my God, these huge sewer systems.
Well,
what's the word? They give access to every part of our societies. And we don't look in them. So
well, and then think about like the underground cities. Like Seattle has an underground city. It was just after the fire in Seattle, they just built over the top of it, just like in San Francisco. And all over. Chicago's got it. Wasn't there a fire in Detroit also years ago?
Maybe.
But I mean, there's all these places that have these underground cities and railways that are abandoned subways.
Abandoned subways. I was thinking the same thing. Yep.
So.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
lots of opportunities.
And there's a lot of speculation that a lot of these cryptids are subterranean by nature, so they'd be right at home.
Could you imagine what would be living in the catacombs in France?
Oh God!
I mean, come on.
I've watched a lot of videos of people going down there exploring, and while I'm sure something's got to be down there.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people break in to go partying down there, but you hear these stories of people that go missing.
Right.
And it's a maze. Nobody has this all mapped out, and so they don't know where these tunnels are and where people would end up, and they may never be found. But you see those piles of bones and stuff. It's just like, oh my God. That's where they took the plague victims or something like that, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
the catacombs. Yeah.
Pretty sad stuff, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to get into more of this on the other side, so definitely stay tuned. We're about to go to our hour break, but once again, if you're listening to us on TFR, iHeart's Tune In and TalkStream, stick around after the show because Paisley Wild will be coming up next with her The Spaces Between podcast, and that'll be coming up, or show. I don't know if it is a podcast too, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been kind of slacking on that one.
But she does stream live on her YouTube channel as well, so you can tune in there on youtube.com/the spaces between. Additionally, after that, on tfrlive.com, check out the Duke, who will be coming up then next with World Bigfoot Radio. You go to YouTube or tfrlive.com/chat, create your own username and password, and you can hang out with the Duke during his show as he brings you even deeper into the background of what's going on the show you'll be listening to. So really cool experiences, great opportunity to get a chance to talk with the Duke. So we're going to go to our hour break here, ladies and gentlemen. 1 hour down. We're going into hour number 2. So stick around. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. When I'm not told
sense anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and that is my lyrics. That's right. Al, you're right. Take another slice of my sanity. Just make sure that you're well fed. That's why it's called Emotional Buffet. It was inspired by a lot of bad choices of mine.
I just got that line. I've been hearing it for years, and I just got that line.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let me get a piece of that roast beef.
Yeah. Let's have some insecurity sandwich. Let's.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just inspired by a lot of roller coasters in my life, so that's what I wrote. But thank you all for talking about it. It makes me feel special.
It gives them a warm tingly.
It does. I like those. They warm me up, Don. Mm-hmm. Where the hell was I? I don't know. Let me see. I'm all over the map here. Oh, okay. All right, so we got some discussion going on about the Dogman tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're talking about everything and anything, but right now we happen to be on Dogman. So we're going to continue on this a little bit more. I got some more things to share with you about this, and then we're talking about Bigfoot as well. We're kind of, having a cryptid night. And so I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. Thank you to everybody in here. Please make sure to hit the likes if you would. That goes a long way into helping us in getting our videos recommended. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the show. That means the world to us. We are, of course, working really hard to make the portal bigger, better, and greater. And if the more you guys help with us, the bigger we're going to get. So,
and the more we can travel and maybe meet you.
Yeah, that would be great. That's really my bucket list for the show, is to get out and at least go across North America and meet as many of our listeners as we can and do investigations around. That would be brilliant. But we'll see where we can get to. We got a year that's shaping up to be pretty good so far.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
So it's a big improvement from last year. And last year was fun, but this year is much better. So we're still talking about the Dogman, and I got another story from Reddit. Again, the Dogman thread on Reddit, and this one is from 10 days ago. This was posted, and it says, "My skeptic husband had a bizarre experience, but refuses to acknowledge it was anything strange." Those skeptics, they will do everything they can to hold on to their paradigm, ladies and gentlemen, because our paradigms are our safety net. They are the truth that we fall back on when everything else falls apart. But sometimes it's almost an act of self-delusion, and a lot of times that's the case with the paranormal. But let's read this story and see what the narratives is all about. It starts out, "My husband comes from a long line of outdoorsmen, hunters, fishers, etc. He spends every weekend out exploring the land and also grew up in a dense forest. He's a proud skeptic, an actual earth scientist as a profession. He doesn't believe in anything unless there's evidence to back it up. And he says, as he's grown up in the woods for over 4 decades, if any of these things exist, he would have seen something by now." Yeah, that's some arrogance right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Like, you go out maybe every weekend, and these other things live there. Who do you think is going to be better at the woods?
Yeah.
He told me of an experience he had forgotten about last night while he was out in the national forest an hour north of us. He saw a strange group of 3 deer. The deer had long, bony, skinny bodies with elongated legs and wolf tails. He said the tail part was so bizarre, strangely long, almost as long as their whole body, bushy, just like an extra long German Shepherd tail. And he said the deer bodies didn't look right, really gangly and disproportioned. But he couldn't put his finger on what was so strange about them. The tail was what stood out the most. We then together Googled deer species in the area and found nothing matched the description. There are some deer with longer tails, but they don't exist in our area, and their tails are not bushy and long like a dog tail. They're trim and stubby, like a regular deer tail, just elongated, and basically no such creature exists in our area or anywhere else. He said he saw them once, and sometime later saw them again, and they were not moving, just watching him. Nothing else out of the ordinary had happened this day, and at first my first thought in my mind was shapeshifter / skinwalker or dogman. There are many accounts of weird half-deer creatures associated with shapeshifters or dogman encounters. The thing is, he has had paranormal encounters, but refuses to accept it, and it was something out of the ordinary. And he was in the middle of nowhere at night when a giant, totally black craft flew straight over him, covering the sky, making a weird low pulsating sound, like a pulsating electric hum. And he thinks it was just simply an experimental aircraft, and he didn't think anything of it. Another time he was driving in an isolated country road at night, and his passengers saw a very bright orange blob in the sky moving around. Suddenly, a cow appeared in the middle of the road out of nowhere, and they almost hit it.
What is this? Twister? We've got cow.
Yeah, well, we got cows. Once again, he assumes it was a planet he saw, and the cow had quickly run onto the road when they weren't looking. Another time, he saw a pair of yellow-green glowing eyes watching him from the darkness pretty high up, 7-ish feet, accompanied by someone whistling what he said was an eerie tune.
Huh.
This encounter is the only weird one he will admit to, as he felt uneasy and ran back to find his car. This took place by a pond or body of water. Regarding the strange wolf deers, does this sound familiar to anyone? Have they had an experience like that or heard about it from any other encounter, videos, or stories? It seemed pretty strange to me, and my husband, who can properly identify any common animal, has been very perplexed, as he's never seen anything like it in the area, or any wildlife book, period. He thinks it's nothing, but I definitely don't. Well, if he's a scientist, you'd think he would be a little more excited about it, but it looks like he just doesn't want to know.
Yeah, it sounds like...
Yeah. If he's on the cusp of discovering a new species, can you imagine any scientist just being, well, I don't recognize that. Anyway, let's go fishing. They should be excited as hell because, then they get to name it and have that whole pride and ego thing cooking. So I can't imagine any scientist wouldn't be absolutely pulsing with excitement at the possibility of discovering something new, especially right in our North American continent. Right, Don?
Yes. Now, here's the... So, I don't know how you could say that you're a skeptic if you're a scientist. You would have... Well, yes. Okay, you would need the scientific proof behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you see something with your eyes, is that subscribing to believe none of what you hear and half of what you see? But if you still believe half of what you see, you've got to believe that you saw something not of the natural paradigms, supernatural, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with this story specifically with the deer, I'm definitely leaning towards skinwalker.
Yeah, I think I am too. Now, I will say that I have seen video of things that people have caught, and they are bizarre, but they do actually remind me of the werewolves that were depicted in Harry Potter. In the third one, The Prisoner of Azkaban, when his Professor Lupin turned into that weird it wasn't really what I traditionally thought of as a werewolf type creature, but
It's more of a were person.
yeah, but it really had the similar kind of features, and it was like, oh God, that does look like a werewolf from Harry Potter. But I've seen video of those things loping along, and it's peculiar. I don't pretend to understand exactly what I'm looking at, but
Right.
it doesn't look like normal fauna that I'm familiar with. So I have actually seen what I believe this person is talking about on video, but there again, anytime you see a video of anything, you've got to really, I mean, most often you just discard it because it's not necessarily that you can prove it's a fake. It's just that if it's fakeable, then it probably is fake, is what because we're all kind of jaded when it comes to, YouTube videos showing proof.
Right.
Because it's just so easy for most people to get fakes.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't take much. I mean, even I know how to, do some things in video editors. So,
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not exactly a smart guy.
We'll have therapy later, Don. We'll talk about
We'll
that.
talk about it. I don't
We're going
believe
to
in
make sure
talk
you
therapy.
feel that you love yourself.
I don't believe in talk therapy.
We'll throw back a beer. And talk about
beer
it.
therapy. Oh,
Beer
that's different.
therapy. Yep.
That's a little different.
Don believes in that one.
I'll take some of that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting story, ladies and gentlemen. And again, it's really curious to me that when somebody sees something that they know shouldn't exist,
Yeah.
that they still would just be like, no, I'm good. I just didn't know what it was. It was a really weird deer.
No, yeah. As soon as they started describing it, I'm like, Skinwalker.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick, get
Yeah.
your ash from your fireplace.
Yeah, load up a shotgun shell with
Yep.
fireplace ash and just hope for the best. Yeah, that's creepy stuff right there, ladies and gentlemen. But very curious stuff. What?
No, I just keep
Oh.
thinking of that. That's just,
Yeah.
I mean, the two things that scare me the most when we're talking about cryptids is dogmen, but I think skinwalkers are actually ahead of them.
How about black-eyed kids? Because that could be a cryptid.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, if you're going to go there, if you're going to throw that into cryptids, that's...
I mean, it could be. It's more.
We'll just say those are my top three in no specific order.
I got you. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it. But yeah, very good story. It's funny though. I don't know why people defend their paradigms so fiercely, but they do. It's just a quirk of nature, quirk of human nature or human psychology.
I
But
think it's, psyche, yeah.
yeah, and there you have it. But here's another one. This one is called Close to None, a dogman sighting in New Jersey, which I find really interesting. Now, there is some very forested areas of New Jersey. Oftentimes we hear New Jersey and we think it's one sprawling metropolis, but it's not. There's quite a bit of forest.
Well, you have to consider the Pine Barrens, too.
Well, sure, there's that as well. But
So-
but I mean, there's really quite an expanse of forests that are out there as well. So let's see what's going on in this one. This one's really pretty quick. This is a quick read. It says, "Hey guys, I've been thinking lately how dogmen are really stretching out around the U.S. However, they seem to be more concentrated in certain areas. What boggles my mind a little more is that they're seen in Pennsylvania. However, they aren't as active in New Jersey. Mind you, in South Jersey, they have the Pine Barrens." Boom, there you go, Don. Little shout out to Don. There would be a perfect place for them to live. Oh, man, did you hear that one? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I just
miss it.
started speaking in tongues, but I got better.
More like stomachs.
However, I understand there could be some obvious answers. For example, to my knowledge, the only way to get here in New Jersey is by a bridge, at least to South Jersey. So for a dogman to get there specifically would be difficult.
Dogs swim.
I know what I was just going to say. What,
Dogs swim.
you don't think these things have figured out how to swim? Especially since North Jersey is far more urban and less rural than South Jersey. Secondly, I don't suppose there would be much sense to migrate all the way over here if there is an ample supply of food and shelter in their current areas. It just seems odd overall that there isn't many sightings of dogmen over here in the Garden State. What do you guys have to say? Well, I mean, for there to be sightings, there'd have to be people that are there to witness it.
Right.
And I really think that mostly these things avoid people.
So if a dogman poops in the woods,
Yeah. Yeah. Is anybody there to wipe its butt? No. Probably not. I don't know. Again, you're dealing with populations in the woods
Right.
that may have a chance encounter of seeing something like this. And there's no saying why, some people end up seeing a lot more than other people. I don't know. But there does seem to be some rhyme or reason that, like, if somebody has a Bigfoot sighting, it seems like they are so much more likely to have a second sighting than another person to have a
Yes.
first.
yeah.
Something about that just really unlocks something. I don't know why that is, but that seems to come
First
up.
time syndrome.
Right. It's, that's that. I can't really touch that, can I?
No.
I got to leave that lay. I can't touch that one too much, ladies and gentlemen, as much as I'd love to, but I think there is something to that if somebody experiences a cryptid sighting, they seem to be much more likely to have a second experience.
Right.
I don't know what that is, if there's an imprint that happens on that person that's witnessed them and they just become more observable or what. I don't know. There's some weird thing going on there, but it does seem to come up quite a bit. I don't pretend to understand why. I just talk about the truth as I know it.
Hey,
What?
you know how you get a paper bag and you scoop up some poop and leave it on doorsteps.
Yeah.
That's pretty irritating, right?
Yeah, generally.
What if it was dogman poop?
I don't imagine.
Would it be like stinkier?
I think it'd probably just be bigger.
More mass.
Yeah. More mass, less dog food, more rotting carcasses. I don't know. It's like
Random stuff, Don says.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sorry.
As much interest as I have in that topic, I'm going to let that lay too. Here's one that came from, it just says, I don't know what I saw. And this was from 16 days ago, again on Reddit, the Dogman thread. I'm not sure if anyone will read or comment on this, but I want to get this off my chest. For context, I live in a town in Wisconsin, and although we have a lot of woods and wildlife where I live, no bears or wolves, not in my part of the state. Maybe a black bear once in a while, but big wolves never. I live on the outskirts of a decently sized town, and we have a few neighbors, but mostly woods off highway. And in my neighborhood, there's a park and a small pine grove that the city decided not to demolish. You can see this woods from the highway near my house, and I really don't know how to describe this any further. In any event, this is what happened. One day when I was 12, I think, I was in the backseat of my mom's car, and we were on the highway where you could see my house and neighborhood and that tree line in the park. While in the back of the car, like I usually do, I was watching everything go by out the window. I saw my house, and then on the other side of the highway near my house, that park, I saw it, and what looked to be like a wolf, or what I thought at first was a wild dog, but here's the thing. It was foaming at the mouth and was pure white and a little tan. It was big, and we were going 60 miles per hour, so my mom didn't see it, but when I got home, after our drive, my 12-year-old mind thought it would be fun to go find it. Oh, no.
Ugly.
Luckily, I didn't find it, and I thought maybe it went away, and it did for a while. Fast forward, I think 2 years, I was driving the opposite direction with my mom and dad, and this time we were on a different highway going past a cornfield. When I was watching the corn go by, I saw the same creature again, big and white and foaming at the mouth, looking at our car and me as we drove by. Nobody saw it but me, but I know what I saw, and I can't explain it. Here's my problem with these experiences. First of all, even though we have wolves in Wisconsin, they are just gray wolves about 45 miles north of my, and that's what it says, my, period. And they still look nothing like what I saw. Second, why is it foaming at the mouth, and why did I see it twice? I didn't think anything of it really until about a year ago when I learned my home state is riddled with dogman sightings. Anyone else see anything like this? Yikes. Huh.
My 12-year-old mind thought it'd be fun to go find it.
I know. It's just, oh, no. I'm glad he didn't, though.
Mom, what's rabies?
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's scary stuff, man.
That sounds like a cracking good time.
Yeah, that's horrible. Wow, that's creepy though. I don't know why would he see it twice. It's like it knew he was there though. That to me seems like something else, right? I mean, how could it know this kid was going to be driving by and to look at him and see him?
No, I don't think
I mean, what are you thinking? Is that just a fabrication of a young mind, or
I don't know. I don't know how one would tell if it's the same one or, anything like that.
right?
I think maybe it's coincidence.
Okay,
If it's true.
if it's true, that's true. We can't know for sure, ladies and gentlemen, but we can tell you that if it's true, that's creepy as hell. That's what I can tell you. Oh, son of a gun. Okay, now here's one. It's called "What's Up with the Other Dogmen."
What other dog?
I don't know. I was kind of curious about that, so I want to. It's literally,
Half a paragraph.
yeah, it's literally like a sentence or two. So, by listening to an incredible amount of witness testimony and through speaking to several eyewitnesses themselves, I've come across the issue. People are reporting very sickly-looking creatures. They are dogmen, but deformed, very deformed. What do you think?
Not dogmen.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah, misidentifications.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, because who the hell is good at citing a dogman? I mean, whoever gets that much exposure to him, that's like, I ain't no dogman, or that's definitely a dogman. Nobody. I mean, we just have these ideas. We have these preconceived conceptions.
Hypothesis.
Right. We have these ideas of what they're going to look like, and when we see something that's else, then we classify it as something different. But
Right.
quite honestly, we can't know for sure until you actually have a sighting. So I agree with you there. I think that there's no way to know that it's actually a dogman they're seeing until you see it, and then who's to know?
So, NKD in the chat says, out of curiosity, as for the mind speak topic, it seems well documented with Squatch. Has it been experienced with Dogman?
I don't think I've ever heard of
think so
that
either.
related to dogmen, to be honest with you. But I will say that, by just sheer volume of sightings, there's probably 10 to 20 Bigfoot sightings for every dogman sighting
Sure
at
enough,
least.
yeah.
So I think it's an incredibly rare event that somebody even sees one. And then to experience the mind speak on top of that, I think would be incredibly profound. But I don't know. I think the only reason we know about mind speak at all is because people have experienced them enough.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pharmacy Seed Network says, yes, NKD, I've heard Dogman encounters with it.
Okay.
And then right up behind it, good old Duke, Dogman speak is more difficult to understand with phrases like ruh-roh, Reggie.
Ruh, ruh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Reggie. That's true. It's hard to understand those R's for everything. Okay. That's the love of this show, ladies and gentlemen. You never know what's coming up next.
Squirrel.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I don't know of any direct. I can't remember ever hearing of a mind speak directly with a dogman.
Well, Tighten Up says Dogman has been known to use infrasound. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Sure.
That would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, and as is Bigfoot, people have attributed infrasound to them. I mean, again, these are all theories. People get zapped. And so one of the theories for this being zapped is, could it be infrasound? Well, it could be. I don't know. That's at least something that has a natural precedent in our natural world with tigers and elephants and other animals that do use a form of infrasound. Could that cause some of the zapping that people experience? Some people
Yeah.
believe it can, and
I
I
would
guess
agree.
it stands to reason. I don't pretend to know, but I can tell you, I believe I heard a Bigfoot growl as it came up behind me when I was 14 years old,
Yeah,
and it vibrated my body.
that'd
It
be
was
a pants wetter.
yeah, I was just so frozen. I really thought whatever made that noise was about to kill me. It was just,
No, I
it
don't
was
blame you.
terrifying. It was just, the only thing I can tell you is I don't think I've ever been so afraid in my entire life because that noise was so big. It was so big. And I'm a guy from southern Minnesota where the biggest thing we have is deer. And whatever made that noise was enormous. And it was by far the most terrifying experience I had. And I was sure that I was moments away from being done in this world. It was that real and that terrifying. So was I zapped? Maybe. I mean, we stood there. I was afraid to move. I can't say I couldn't move. I made a choice not to.
Yeah, I think that would be. I don't think that would be more zapped. I think that's just the fright or flight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was just
Yeah.
nothing but a ball of adrenaline, and you know, I knew whatever made that noise was not fightable by me.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that noise was way bigger than I was, and if I tried to fight it, it would be certainly death.
Just think about how big that chest chamber must be for that kind of a growl,
You know, I can't tell
or
you.
even infrasound for that matter.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But we did the only thing we could, and it was a friend of mine and myself, and we did the only thing we could, which was run for it. You know, it's fight or flight. There was no fight going on. That was not going to happen. So all that was left was flight.
A little processing, and off we went.
And we flew down that hill faster than I ever have in my life.
Fly, you fools!
Yeah, exactly. It was just that terrifying. So.
Oh,
There's the bell, ladies and gentlemen. Last break, and we'll be back for the last half hour after this, so don't go away. The portal will continue for 30 more minutes.
fourth quarter.
Get a drink. We'll meet you back here. Don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I almost killed the stream by accident, so I was able to save it within a second before I was trying to change the scenes and I actually hit the stop stream. So I about stroked out there for a second, but it looks like we're back and we're doing good here.
Yes.
So anyway, I just want to take a moment and say a special hello to a special guest that's in chat tonight, and that's Robin McRae. Thank you for being here. A friend of Duke's is joining us tonight. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you so much for checking out our show. That's always amazing. So we really appreciate it. Now we are, nope, there's no call. But Abe Allman, of course, we're taking calls. If you want to call in, that's always possible. Again, 720-923-0500 is the number to call to get through to us here on the Paranormal Portal. And we'd love to hear from you. Always good to hear from the listeners. So, oh, there he is. A GIF on cue. All right, let me get to the call, ladies and gentlemen. This is area code 812. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great, brother. How's everything going?
Good. I've got some more to add to that footprint story that I told you guys. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, sure.
My name's Adam.
Oh, I remember Adam.
I called in the other night.
Yep.
A guy that I know from when I found that footprint, this guy that I know, I had met at a Crypticon, and he was from Rhode Island, and he came and he traveled down to Indiana, and he travels all across the United States. He ended up going and out west and meeting some different Bigfoot hunters, and he stopped by my house, and he camped out with us for a little bit, and I took him back in where I had found that footprint, and we walked the area looking for tree bends and different things like that. We couldn't find anything, and this area where I found the footprint, there was an old gravel road that it just dead ends right into a campground, and it's 7,000 acres of woods back in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And right at the very end of this campground, there was one camp spot, and I looked at it on Google Maps or Google Earth, and I thought, if there's anything around in that area, it's going to be where that last campground or camp spot is, and that's where the deepest part of the woods would go back in there. Okay. And so he set his camper up in there, and when he pulled in, he set his camper up to where because there was kind of some ruts in there, one of the back wheels was up off the ground just a little bit. And when he'd step up in this in his vehicle, the van would rock. Like you could hear like his pots and pans and different things inside the van moving on the wall and stuff. And so when we got there, he was smoking a cigar, and so I told him, I said, he cut cut a little bit of it off and was going to throw it in this little fire he had going there. And I said, it was probably, 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and I told him, I said, you going to get rid of that tobacco? And he said, yeah, why? And I said, can I have it? And he said, yeah. So I'd go to powwows and different things, and I knew a guy that he was a firekeeper, and he would offer tobacco into the fire. And so I told him, I said, what we're going to do is, I said, we're going to offer tobacco to the woods, and we're going to talk to these creatures or Bigfoot or whatever if it's here. And I said, and we're going to tell them we want to have an experience. We're here. We don't mean any harm. We're not going to take pictures. We're not going to do anything like that. We just want to know that they're here, and we want to have an experience. So we sit around the fire for a while, and I have a Native American flute that I play. And so we're sitting at this picnic table, and it's getting about right, and the fire goes down to where it's just pitch black in this campground. He's sitting across from me, and I'm sitting across from him at the picnic table. So I tell him, I said, I'm going to go over here to the edge of the woods, and I'm going to shoot off a hoot owl call, because when I turkey hunt, I will make a hoot owl call, and I know that I've heard people on these different shows say that they would that the Bigfoot or whatever would mimic a hoot owl.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I go over to the edge of the woods, where there's these big ravines. They just dropped straight off, and there was like a gully that went down the ravine there, and probably about maybe about an 8-foot jump across the gully from one side to the other. But anyway, I go down to the edge of the woods there, and I rip off this hoot owl call, and we don't hear anything. We go back and we sit, and we're listening, and maybe about, maybe 5 minutes or so, we hear this hoot owl. And it doesn't sound quite right, but it sounds kind of close to us.
Sure.
And so we waited a little while. We didn't hear anything again. And so I told him, I said, I'll play this flute a little bit and see if we get a response. So I played the flute. We didn't hear anything or see anything. And so I told him, I said, I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to do a hoot owl call one more time. And so I went over there, did the hoot owl call. As soon as I did the hoot owl call, it got quiet. And then you could hear something back in the deepest part of the woods where I figured they was going to be. You could hear a couple of something talking back and forth. And we couldn't make out what they were saying. It was just like mumbling sound. It didn't sound like anything, human or anything.
Okay.
And so probably, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 10 minutes later, we hear something slide down out of the tree where this gully, where it drops off the down the bank.
Uh-huh.
Well, when we hear this thing slide down, it slides down the tree. It jumps from one side to the other, and it wasn't like a deer just jumping. It jumped. When it jumped, it thud like a real deep thud. You could almost feel it in the ground.
Wow.
And so we were sitting there at the picnic table, and I just happened to turn to my left, and I told him, I said, there's one standing right there, and it had electric blue eyes, and they weren't very big. Whatever these things were, they were maybe 3.5, 4 foot tall, and it's peeking around the tree. You can see it leaning, peeking around the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And he turns and he looks and he sees it, and so he starts talking to it, and he says, thank you for coming here. We really appreciate it. He says, I really like your eyes. You have really pretty eyes. Well, it just like the eyes just went away, like it closed its eyes or whatever, and it just went away. Mm-hmm. And so a few minutes later, I turned and looked to my right, and there's another set just coming up where the ridge comes up into the little camp spot. And so he sees that one, and we both see it. And so that one went away, and then we're talking again. Well, nothing's happening, and so while we're talking, we get to talking about something that's kind of like I kind of got a little emotional, like I was kind of getting angry about whatever it was I was talking about. So we wasn't seeing anything for a long time, and he told me, he said, we probably want to change our what we're talking about and try to calm down, and maybe we'll get see something else or whatever. So
right.
We changed the subject. I played the flute again, and probably more, maybe 2 or 3 minutes after I played this flute, I tell him, I said, I said, it's pitch black. These eyes are lighting up on their own. I mean, I don't know what they are. If you guys have ever heard of this or know somebody else that's seen something like that, I'd like to know. But anyway, I told him, I said, I don't know how I know this, but I said, there's one or something moving right behind me. I said, the hair standing up on the back of my neck. I could feel him watching me. And he's looking over my shoulder across the table, and there was a little rise up behind me, like a little ridge went up. And he said, there's not just one there. He said, there's 3 of them standing there looking at me. And so I turned and I looked over my right shoulder, and sure enough, there they are up on the ridge looking.
Wow.
And so then those eyes go out, and then there's nothing there. And so we're sitting there talking again, and I turn and I look behind his van, and there's these eyes appear behind his van. And I told him, I said, there's another one right over here by your van. And so he turns and he starts to look at it, and he sees it, and it stands there for a few minutes or whatever looking at us. And whatever this thing was probably no more, maybe, I'm guessing, 10, 15 feet behind us.
Wow.
And so the eyes go out again. It's pitch black, dark, and then all of a sudden you hear something get up it either got up in his van and it was causing it to rock, or it was pushing the van and the van started rocking, and you could hear the stuff inside clinging and beating around on the inside of the his van.
Wow.
But he ended up camping out that night at that campground, and he didn't have any other experiences or anything like that. He wasn't afraid of it or anything. And so a whole year goes by, and I go back in there in the springtime where I found the little footprint. And right beside where I found the little footprint was a tree about 8 inches in diameter. And, you know, they say that those Sasquatch or whatever, they'll make like a tree bend or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They had taken this tree, and they bent this tree all the way over and jammed the top of it down in the creek bed. And there's no way that I could go up, climb that tree and bend that thing over and stuck it in the ground like that. And I looked around to make sure it wasn't where a tree had fell over and pinned it down to the ground. It wasn't pinned to the ground by another tree. It was just jammed down in the creek.
Wow.
And so I ended up taking him back. There again, and I showed him that area, and he said, when he saw it, he said that wasn't here the last time we was here. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, and right here, no more than maybe 2 feet away from the base of where that tree was bent over was where I'd found that footprint.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what made that tree bend like that, but it was quite a feat, whatever did it,
So
to bend that tree like that. But it wasn't like that the year before when I found the footprint.
Were all of the eyes about 3 feet off the ground, or were they taller? Or
Nope, they was just all about 3 feet off the ground.
wow.
And that's the weird thing about it. And they were an electric blue color. Matt, you know who Dr. Matthew Johnson is?
No, I'm not familiar with that name.
He's got there's a guy named Matthew Johnson. He's out like in Oregon, or I'm not sure exactly where he lives at. But anyway, he's been on TV and he's had sightings and this and that. And my friend went out there and actually stayed with him or whatever. And they had seen some eyes similar to what we saw there at the campground, but I don't know what they were. And again, we didn't smell any smell. We didn't really hear any grunting or anything other than whatever it sounded like. It was mumbling, like it was talking back and forth down in the ravine there. But it was just, you know, when things is way off, you can't really make out what they're saying.
No, but what was the voice like? What was the voice like? Did it sound like a little being, or did it sound like a big being, or what?
No, it sounded like you know what that samurai chatter is? That you hear?
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah.
samurai chatter. It's
course.
kind of like that, indistinguishable, but you could tell that 2 of them was talking back and forth back in there.
Okay.
So,
Well, the reason I'm asking is because, of course, it sounds like you ran into a bunch of little people and not necessarily Sasquatch, you know, like some
Interesting.
gnome or duende or something to that nature.
right. And you know, I know the stories of the about the Pukwudgies. Have you ever heard of the Pukwudgies?
Yeah. Yeah, we've heard of them. Yeah.
Well, we're not too far away. We're not too far away from. It's almost 2 hours away, I guess. So we're a little far away. But that Mound State Park up in Anderson, Indiana, they see Pukwudgies up there.
Oh, sure.
Or have been known to see them. So, but that little footprint that I found, like you said, it could have been little people. I mean, I don't know
Sounds
what
like
it was, but I tell you, it was really, really bizarre. And that guy, he had traveled out and talked to all kinds of people that hunt Bigfoot. And he called me up on the phone and he told me, he said, Adam, he said, that experience that we had with the eyes, he said, that just totally made my year. I mean, he traveled all over. He went to Arizona and Mexico and all that.
Yeah.
He said that experience was just totally made his year.
Well, the
So
thing,
I don't know
thing
what
is,
they are.
what's interesting is that, you know, I mean, if you see one small Bigfoot or 2 small Bigfoots, then maybe it is just juvenile or really young Bigfoot. But if you're seeing a whole bunch of these little things, that's no longer probably Bigfoot, because, I mean, they're a huge creature. They're not little diminutive things. And
Right.
so the fact that you saw all
I
of them as little diminutive creatures, to me, doesn't sound like you saw Bigfoot at all, but you saw something even rarer.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it was dark. You couldn't really make out a silhouette. It was so dark. All you could see was the eyes, and they were blue, an electric blue color, and they were almost they almost had like a slant, an almond shape to them, if that makes sense.
Sure, it does.
They weren't like totally round. They were more almond shaped.
Right.
But you could really see it peeking out around the tree, like it was leaning out around a tree. As far as I know, coons and different things like that, like the one that was standing behind the vehicle, there was no trees or anything for it to be standing up on. It wasn't where it was standing at. There was no vehicles right there, so it was where it was standing. It was just basically air there.
Oh.
So whatever it was. I tell you guys, it was really odd. Really odd.
That is.
I know I've heard of bioluminescence.
Sure.
So I don't know. Maybe these things live underground and they have a bioluminescence in their eyes, or they've developed something like that.
Yeah. There's something peculiar
know.
at work there, and we do hear reports of like even Bigfoot with glowing eyes, not just reflecting light, but glowing, and it's hard to get your head around it. But it's obviously something that a lot of people are experiencing. What does that mean? Well, you're right. It could be just some sort of bioluminescence or their ability to project light in order to perceive what's around them. It's hard to know.
Right. That I had that experience I'd called a couple times back before about the glowing eyes in the dark. I said it was about the size of softballs. Well,
Yes.
They're an elephant's eyes, as big as they are, they're not as big as a softball. So I don't know if that was, what that thing was. And I don't know if it was a dog man or a Bigfoot, because Bigfoot, the eyes that glow that I've seen the videos of, they're like a red color, and this thing was more of an ambery yellow color that lit up.
Well, maybe you saw a mountain giant.
I don't know. If I seen a mountain giant, that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah.
I have another story for you guys. I had my father's a Vietnam vet, so I will read things every once in a while about Vietnam and watch different things about it. But anyway, I come across some documentation on the internet about the Indian trackers that they had recruited back during the Vietnam War, and they said that these Indian trackers were so good at what they do that they had the ability that, like, if an enemy was coming in, they would sense the enemy coming in before seeing them or hearing them or anything, and they would back all their men out and get them out of the area before they even got there.
Right. Yep.
And
right.
so, have you heard this story?
Yeah, the wind talkers, they were used for those kind of things as well. And they found that actually one of the things that I found interesting about that as well is once they made them cut their hair, most of them lost that precognition.
Right, because it was attaches directly to your nervous system.
Yep.
And they think that somehow it acts like an antenna.
Yep.
And they can pick up that vibration around them or whatever frequency. But I can tell you, from the 30 years of deer hunting that I've done, when I have deer come in on me, I'll hunt 20 plus feet in the air, and every time they come in, they'll look right up at me and they'll make eye contact with me. And if I don't break eye contact with them, they'll take off and run. But if what I'll do is when they come in and they make eye contact with me, I'll close my eyes, and then I'll just kind of like try to peek at them. And then once I close my eyes, they'll put their head down and start eating again. But once I make eye contact with them again, they'll lift their head up and look at you. And so that I've killed quite a few big deer just closing my eyes and just letting them just try to calm the situation down. A buddy of mine, he was a sniper in Vietnam. He was a neighbor. He lived beside me, and he would tell me different stories about when he was in Vietnam. And he said that they always told him, they said, if the enemy comes in and they come in close, do not make eye contact with them because they will feel your gaze upon them. And he said that he'd have the enemy so close to him that he said he just knew that they could hear his heartbeat because it's beating so fast.
Right.
And he said that he would not make eye contact with them. And then I had another guy tell me that he said that he had went up into Alaska, and he was camping out up there, and he, in the middle of the night, he got up and he stepped out on the porch to use the bathroom, and he heard something. He had a flashlight with him, and he turned the flashlight on, and he said there was a bear standing just right off the porch, facing his direction, but it had taken and put its paw up over its eyes to close its, like conceal its eyes from him.
Right.
And he said that they will do that, like to keep their gaze off of you, because I had told him that story about Bud and the
Right.
and that.
Yeah. Very interesting.
One of the experiences that we had, I had with Bud one time, he had taken me on the river, and there's it's the White River, and the area where we lived at was where the White River and the Eel River met. And there was a place downriver that you could go to that they had like writing etched on the walls, and where people had come down the river, like explorers, whatever,
Sure.
had pulled over, and then they would like etch out their name and where they was from, and some of the writing there was like from 1790s, and he said he wanted me to go in there and check it out, and that there was a cave there that had been made by a great big boulder that had broke off this sheer face rock wall, had fell, and it hit the ground, and it made a cave to where you could go in and stuff, and you could camp there overnight. So a lot of people probably would have camped there, especially the Indians or whatever.
Sure.
And so as we're getting ready to leave after he showed me around the area, we're getting ready to leave, and I had hunted this area across the river. It was like 3,000 acres. I had the run of the place. The farmer let us go in there. I mean, it took me a long time to walk back to that river. But anyway, I'd never seen anything or anything like that back in there. You know, nothing scary, Bigfoot or anything. But I'm walking up towards the edge of the river, and we're going to get in the boat. And he's standing there along the edge of the river, and he's leaning against a tree, and he's looking around it, and he's got his arms folded, and I walked up behind him, and I said, "What's going on, bud?" And he put his hand out like be quiet. And then he pointed over across the river. And so I'm sitting there watching with him, and we can hear something over there, like scurrying around, like running through the brush over there, and it's coming down along the edge of the river.
Wow.
And so we get to watching, and here comes, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 deer come running down along the edge of the river, and you can catch a glimpse of them going through the trees back in there. Well, as these deer are coming, these trees are falling behind them, just one right after another.
Oh, jeez.
Falling right behind these deer. And so as they get up to us, they get right across from us on the river, and they head straight deep down into the woods. It's just like they come in and made a right angle and started running straight down in the woods, and those trees just kept continuing following those deer, just following one right after another.
Oh, jeez.
And
Wow.
that was really bizarre. I have no idea what that was, but it was very bizarre.
Wow. That's amazing, brother, and thank you so much for calling in. It's been great hearing from you. I really appreciate you continuing to share
Hey,
so
no
much
problem,
of your
man.
stories with us. Just an epic journey. Thanks,
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah, I really love this stuff. I kind of like investigating them because I've had these experiences, and I'm just curious. I want to know what it is, because whatever this is above the norm,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating to me. So
Well, stay in touch, man.
I appreciate you guys letting me call in. I will, buddy.
All right.
You know who the guy How to Hunt is? Have
Yeah.
you watched any of his videos?
Steve Isdall,
I
yeah.
tell you, he's really
Yep.
he's really inspired me to talk about this stuff, because
Good.
he just doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
And I really believe that guy has seen what he's seen. He's
Yeah.
really very inspiring. So,
Absolutely.
all right, guys. Well, I'll let you go. Thanks
All
for
right.
talking to me about it. I appreciate it.
We'll talk to
Anytime,
you
brother.
later.
Call back some other time.
All righty.
See you now.
That's twice
Will
I've
do.
heard that today.
I've heard that like 5 times in the last several days about people talking about Steve Isdall and how it's helped to give them courage. So
Right.
I got to write him an email and just say thanks because he's helping all of us with talking to people about
Ooh,
just
that's
coming
a great
forward.
idea.
Yeah,
That's
so
an awesome idea.
yeah, well, I mean it seriously too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We had one more caller we didn't get a chance to get through. I do apologize, but we're all out of time, ladies and gentlemen. So we gotta go. We love you all. Stick around. Paisley Wild coming up next. The Spaces Between, and later on TFR comes the Duke and World Bigfoot Radio again. Go to tfrlive.com/chat, get a username and chat password, and hang out with the Duke. Love you guys. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can.
Good night.
Good night.